Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to USD. And any first-time visitors here? Anybody? Yeah. And certainly, especially the first-time visitors to our very fair campus. We're in the beautiful Kroc Center. This is our fourth annual program for the community, and generally talking about financing a very important investment, your graduate education. And that equation is not quite as easy as the undergraduate one, as many of us did get some assistance from family members. Most of the time on the graduate path, we're on our own. And that's really important to figure this out and do this right for this, as I said, extremely great investment that you'll make. And our School of Business has 6 specialized master's programs. Actually, just today, we will have a new one in Master of Science in Finance, as well, of course, the MBA programs, both full-time and evening. And I'm going to give a quick shout out to each of the people representing the different programs. So over there, we have Scott Hanley for our Master of Science in Global Leadership. Right next to her, we have Dr. Inez Kraft representing our Master of Science in Real Estate. And right next to her, we have Lauren Lukens, Master of Science in Supply Chain Management, and just very recently ranked in the top 10 nationwide on best online business programs, our Master of Science in there. Right next to her is Kate Mickle, Director of Admissions of our MBA programs, and just last week ranked in the Financial Times Global 100 top full-time MBA programs that I see Paul and Jessica sacrificing, as we were about to have a celebration of that in another one, just so that they can share their experience about how to finance your graduate studies here. Thanks, by the way, very much. And Christina Devaka and Bridget Breitenberg representing our Master of Science in Executive Leadership and our MBA for Corporate Counsel. And right there, we have Vicki representing Masters of Accounting, right? And so you'll have a chance after our panel is done to meet with the program that you might be specifically interested in, or learn about all our programs if you would like to do that. You'll find them a wonderful source of information. And I'm going to hand it over to our moderator, Laurie Sanderson, academic advisor and admissions advisor for the MBA programs. Thank you, Laurie.
Hi, welcome. Thanks for coming out tonight. Can everyone in the back hear me okay? As Dr. Rahman said, my name is Laurie Sanderson. I work with the MBA programs both as an academic and admissions advisor. My joke is hopefully I can answer all of your questions about the MBA. And I am going to introduce the rest of our panel in just 1 minute. But I wanted to give you a little more information about the format tonight. As Dr. Rahman said, we're going to go, and hear a little bit from each of our panelists. As they're talking, I do, encourage you, if there's something that you're not clear on, go ahead and let us know if you have a question. We can try to get to that, during the time that they're actually talking. When the panel is done, that's when we'll break, and there will be plenty of time for you to go and talk to the different program representatives. So first, I'm really happy to introduce Jessica Skaar. Jessica is an evening MBA student. Jessica, thanks again for being here. I know you have a tight class schedule tonight, so we really appreciate it. And Jessica, could you just share with us a little bit about your experience with the MBA Merit-Based Scholarship? And I think that's a great place to start because there's so many different sources of funding. We like to talk about what's available at the university level, what's available with federal loans, also what's available with some of the specific programs, because it is different from program to program. And that's a great reason why, when the panel is done, you really might want to talk to some of the different program reps about the specific program you're looking at. So thanks, Jessica.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay, great. So yes, I receive a merit-based scholarship from USD, so I didn't have to do anything special to apply for it. I just had to fill out the regular application for the MBA program. I don't think we're going to go into detail on exactly what you have to do to apply, but I went through the normal application process for the MBA program and then was awarded the merit scholarship based on merit, so GPA, grades, probably other things. GMAT score, so I'm not exactly sure everything that goes into that, but it's merit-based. So no special application for the merit scholarship, and then I was given a notification that I got the award and I have to accept it, and then on a semester basis, I just have to accept that merit award every semester and say that I'd like to accept that assistance.
You know, as I said, Jessica is a student in our evening MBA program, and you're planning on 2.5, 3 years until you're done with the program. Is that that
Yeah,
right?
it'll take me about 3 years to complete, so I'm about a year and a half in, and I have a little less than a year and a half left.
And as you know, Jessica was saying, her scholarship runs each semester. And so for evening students, you know, the scholarship award is handled slightly differently because it's spread out over a longer time. Our evening students tend to stay in the program a little bit longer than our full-time students. The average time for graduation in the evening MBA is about 2.5 years. Any questions for Jessica about how the process has worked for her? Yeah.
Are there minimum number of units that you have to take to qualify for the merit scholarship to receive it?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to jump in on that one. You know, yes and no. There's not necessarily a minimum number of units you would need to take to be, you know, reviewed for that award. The way the program works for MBA specifically is it's a cohort-based program. So in your first semester, there is a set number of units that you must take. Because it's a flexible program, after that, you can speed up, you can slow down, you know, you can adjust the number of units that you're taking. And there's some different parameters with scholarship. You know, I can give you a really good example. If you're deciding that you've got some great work projects coming up, and it's a semester where you want to slow down on your courses, say you're only taking one course, if your actual bill, your tuition bill is less than your scholarship award, you know, the university isn't going to, you know, fund you for that full amount. But, you know, there's some different, you know, different restrictions about how the scholarship can work. But for the most part, anybody who's in the program would be qualified for those considerations. All right. Okay, well, if you think of anything else for Jessica, we can certainly come back. I'd also like to introduce Paul Pintek, who is a second-year student in our international MBA cohort in the full-time program. Paul has actually gotten some interesting scholarships, a merit-based scholarship, not from the MBA program, but from the university. Paul also receives military funding, and Paul, I'll let you talk a little bit about your experience in that process.
Okay, thanks, Laurie. Good evening, everybody. Glad to be here, and please jump in if you have any questions. Just let me know while I'm talking. First of all, is there anybody here that comes from a military background and is planning on using GI Bill? Okay, so we have a couple. I'll just gloss over that real quick, and if you have questions about it while I'm or when I'm done or while I'm talking, please let me know. So I used the GI Bill after getting out of active duty in 2013 and transitioning right into a full-time program here. So it was a pretty smooth and seamless process. I was happy with how the school handled it and the VA handled it. I thought it was going to be a nightmare, and it wasn't. So if you're worried about it and you've heard stories about the VA being trouble and hard to deal with, in this case, in this particular instance with the GI Bill, it is not. And the school also provides the Yellow Ribbon program, which I'm sure you're probably aware of, but that also helps cover the difference that is not covered by the VA directly. So they match the difference, and it gets you almost to, if you're a full-time student, it gets you almost to 100% of your tuition covered. However, not all of it is covered, and because of that gap, that difference, that led me to look to other sources of funding to help with the tuition costs here. So I'll talk to you real quickly about the scholarships like Laurie mentioned, and also some other student aid opportunities as well. So before I begin, any questions about the GI Bill or that process? Okay, great. So for the scholarships, so I've taken advantage of the merit-based scholarship for traveling abroad. And since I'm in the international business track, it's required that we travel overseas, and there's a fair amount of costs with flights and lodging and things of that nature overseas, which aren't included in the tuition. So the Aller Center here is very generous in offering merit-based scholarships for those experiences and for that required travel. So I applied to that and received a good scholarship that definitely helped when I was overseas last year in South America. So there are some of these one-time or short-term scholarships you definitely want to take advantage of or be aware of when you're in the program. Another scholarship was through the financial aid office, and applied for a merit-based scholarship with them, so separate of the MBA program, and that was really helpful as well. That was in my second semester, and I wound up taking basically took too many credits, so I had a lot more that was not covered under my tuition assistance from the GI Bill. So to help cover that gap, I applied for a scholarship through the financial aid office, and they were really supportive and gave me a good chunk of money that was very helpful. And then finally, external to USD entirely, there are a lot of scholarships available out there through different funds and organizations, and one that I looked to was the Financial Executives International. They supply a decent amount of scholarships for students focusing on finance. So that's just one example. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of others out there in the different fields that if you're going to MBA programs that you'd be interested in. But I'm focusing on finance and found the Financial Executive International Scholarship opportunity, applied, and was awarded some money from them as well. So bottom line, there's some great opportunities there. And then finally, really quickly, I'll mention another form of student aid is the graduate assistantship, which I've taken advantage of every semester that I've been here. And that's a cool opportunity to get paid to help different professors or offices within the university or within the MBA program. You can help them with research and teaching assistant type of work and get paid for it. So you get to build a relationship with the professor or the office, get some insight, get some behind the scenes, look at what they do and how they do it, and get some extra help with your tuition. So definitely good to take advantage of as well. So yeah, I covered the GI Bill, scholarships, internal and external to the school, and graduate assistantship. So any questions on any of that? Yeah, in the back.
It seems like you did a lot of research regarding these different scholarships. How did you know which ones to apply to, or did you just apply to a whole bunch and see what happened?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I did apply to a whole bunch and kind of saw what happened, but I probably, let's say I started with 20. I probably narrowed it down to 10, and then really put maybe an extra amount of effort into about 5 or so, give or take, just as an example. But the school has an office dedicated to helping you find those scholarships, or the financial aid has a lot of access to resources, different links, and then throughout the school year, the MBA program office was really helpful in anytime they became aware of an opportunity, they'll forward it out to the students. That's actually how I found out about that Financial Executives International opportunity. So yeah, so it's a combination of research, it's a combination of outside researchers on the internet, going to the office here at the university, and then the just work cooperating with the program office was helpful as well. Does that answer your question?
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks, Paul. You actually covered something I was going to ask you to touch on, which was, which different offices and organizations here on campus you worked with. And I think it's worth, mentioning again that, you were talking about working with the MBA office, the Office of Financial Aid, the Aller Center for International Business, which is one of our centers for excellence here on campus. You also worked with our certifying official for, the VA funds. So there's a lot of different resources on campus, and sometimes when you think about it, it can be a little confusing to know, which one do I need to take advantage of, and how do I even access that? And what I can say is, I think, what you two both have in common is that you started with your program. And here at USD, by design, we're a smaller university. Our programs are a little bit smaller so that we really can work with you. And you are going to get to know your program representatives. And that's usually, I think, the best place to start. Ask, because again, some of the scholarships are different between the different programs. And, it's a great way to really let us help you, let us give you the information that is out there, because it is a lot to find out, if you have to start by yourself from scratch. But we have wonderful resources here on campus. And on that note, I'd like to introduce Marilyn Lockwood, who works in our financial aid office.
Yeah, I'm the financial aid counselor basically for the graduate students here at USD. And we did touch on the subject of using the resources here at USD. There's a great website to search for outside scholarships, and it's called FastWeb, so you may want to look into that and do some scholarship research. But basically what we do in our office is the federal funds for the graduate students. And also we find out from filing the free application for federal student aid if there is any need-based aid for students for the USD graduate grant. And students can receive some funds from that, but you have to file the free application for federal student aid. It's the FAFSA for short, that's what they call it. I don't know how many of you have ever filed that lovely little form in your undergraduate work. So basically, you file the FAFSA each year that you're going to attend. So right now, the FAFSA is available. It just became available for 15-16. So that would be fall of 15 and spring of 16. Once you file that and you're admitted into USD, then we go to work on your file to find out what you're eligible for. Right now, what we're working with is the unsubsidized federal student loans, and I do have an interest rate on that. It is at 6.21%. So a student can borrow up to $20,500 in each academic year. There is also what they call a Grad Plus loan that's available if your cost of education is more than the $20,500 per year. And that they do a credit check on, and the interest rate is a little bit higher. So that's kind of the less desirable loan of the two. And the interest rate on that is 7.21%. So students tend to go for the unsubsidized loan in the first place. And then if they need additional funds, they can go for the Grad Plus loan. You can defer your undergraduate student loans while you are in school at least half time doing your graduate work. So that is a help. A student must be in at least 4.5 units each semester to receive either of the two loans, the unsubsidized or the Grad Plus loan. Let's see. I think I covered the FastWeb, the federal student loans. Oh, yes. And so the USD graduate grant, a student can receive up to $325 per unit if there is need. So you have to be in at least 6 units up to 12 units. So if you're below 6 units, that USD grant won't be available for you. Now, I want to also go by what we have in our guide to applying, which I have over on the desk over here. I wanted to go and let you know about the deadlines, the priority deadlines for filing the FAFSA, and for graduate students, it's April 1. So if you're looking at going in the 15-16 year, you need to file your FAFSA. Needs to be into the processor by April 1 if you want to be considered for any USD graduate grant. So that's a real important filing date. So if you're even remotely thinking of attending, you can always do your FAFSA, put our school code on that FAFSA, and that way you will have it in by April 1st, and you don't have to worry about missing the priority deadline. So even if you don't end up attending, you will at least have the FAFSA here by the priority deadline. Once you file the FAFSA, and like I said, and you are admitted, we go out with what we call an award letter, and you view that on your student portal. And once you view that on the student portal, you can accept the offer, and then you apply for the loans online and do the promissory notes for the loan. So it's all there on our My San Diego website. We start processing the awards beginning of March. So if you have filed your FAFSA and you're admitted, we go to work on getting that award out to you as soon as possible. So it's kind of on first come, first served basis, but we work fast and furious, I would say, between March and July to get all the awards out. Any other questions?
For the unsubsidized student loans?
Yeah.
What's the outlet to look at those or apply for those?
Once you file that's through the FAFSA.
That is
Yeah, so the FAFSA, you're applying for, one form does it all, in other words. So you're applying for the Grad Plus, the unsubsidized, and the USD graduate grant, all three.
And Marilyn, I don't know if you remember this, but I think it was the first time we met. You said this to me in a way that really helped me, keep everything, in perspective. Was when you're filing the FAFSA, yes, you probably did look at that and do the same process as an undergraduate. But there are, there's different ways that the money is allocated as a graduate student. It's not so much need-based for those basic unsubsidized loans
Right.
as a grad student. So you're not proving need. As a graduate student, you are, within a few parameters, you're automatically considered for that $20,500. The need-based portion, based on your FAFSA that you fill out, comes from the university. So the
Right.
university is who offers that need-based
The
assistance.
USD graduate grant. Correct.
You mentioned the 4.5 units for the loan and 6 units for the USD grant. Approximately how does that break down per class? How many classes is that?
Most classes at the graduate level are between 2 and 3 units. Some are 1, so for most people, if you're taking 2 classes, you've met that. Again, it depends on which program you're looking at, where you are in the program, things like that. But I think that's a great, a great place to talk about the fact that, we all have really, we spend a lot of time working with our students here. As I mentioned, I'm an academic advisor, so part of my job is I work with our evening MBA students to plan their schedules. When someone comes in and tells me their priorities, then I know, okay, we need to make sure that with work and, family and friends and all the other things you're doing, we're still getting you into 5 units per semester so that you qualify for loans if that's something that is important to you. Yeah.
What's the term and or tenor of the unsubsidized loans and amortization schedule?
What is the term?
Yeah, the tenor or the term of the loans.
How long do you have to pay them back? Is that what you're saying? Oh, oodles of years. I think it's at least 10 years. Yeah.
And before we have any other questions, I just want to thank Jessica again. Jessica, I know you have to run to class, so if you have to hop out, that we understand. And thanks for being here and thanks for joining us.
And I do want to mention on that Grad Plus loan, if you do need it, and a lot of students do need it, when they do the credit check, they're mainly looking for any credit scores, but they're not looking at income to debt ratio. That's not considered. So that's one item that is in the favor of the students when applying for them. And I do have packets on the desk, but they are for 14-15 because we don't have our packets for 15-16 out yet. But it's the same information, and this is a nifty thing that's in the packet. It's called the Guide to Applying. So it gives you the dates, the deadlines, what to expect, and once you do file the FAFSA, what you're going to get on your award and how to view your award and how to accept your award and what is expected from you as far as accepting that award. So it's a handy thing to look through. Yes?
Are the scholarships part scholarships and partial scholarships, or are they full scholarships, or both?
You mean the USD graduate grant?
Well, I'm talking about the scholarship that
The merit scholarships?
The merit-based scholarships, and I'm speaking right now specifically for the MBA programs. For full-time and for the evening program, we have different amounts of awards. For our full-time students, we know that they're taking 2 years off of full-time employment, so we do tend to support them at a very different level. And those full-time scholarships in the last few years really have run anywhere, from 5% of total tuition up to about 75% of total tuition. We're expecting a slight increase this year. Those are the ranges for full-time. For the evening program, again, it looks a little bit different. It's, more along the lines of 5 to about 35% of total tuition. That's specific to the MBA programs. You're welcome to talk to the other programs and see, where the differences are. All right. Well, we've talked about a lot of different things, I feel like, tonight. I really love the fact that just with 2 of our students, you got the chance to hear their stories and see all of the different pieces that go into this. Programs have merit-based scholarship. There are external scholarships as well that our students are taking advantage of. Our students are getting federal loans. Our students are getting USD graduate grants. These are all things that are available to you. I really encourage you to grab one of Marilyn's packets. That's very helpful. As you can see, there's a lot of different moving parts that go into this. So definitely grab one of those before you leave. And thanks again for coming. All of the program reps will be here for another half hour or more to answer your questions and let us know how we can help you.